We are here with the Ice Box by Extra Chill, featuring our guy Cody Dixon, Slim Soul of Soul
Yes,
Power
sir.
Productions, co-owner of Soul in Studios. How you doing today,
Yeah,
brother?
bro. I'm doing good, man. Doing good. Thanks for having me.
Doing good, man. Appreciate you, man. And like I said, this is our new venture that we're trying to get more visuals and or more visual interviews going with different artists and actually like talking about the music, talking about the things that make up the music, and just having it be a focal point on the artist so the people get like a little bit more of an interpersonal
You know, we
feel
all
with you,
for
man.
it.
So
I'm all for it, man.
appreciate you being here, man. So we're gonna crank this thing off. We'll start with something simple, man. What is the inception of Soul Power Productions? Like, how did you start that? And
Okay, yeah. So like I started the nonprofit that's Soul Power Productions in like 2017. I was like finishing up college, and so one of my last classes I was doing was like a nonprofit sort of class, and like they had us kind of pick an organization and like do it ourselves, like all the things that we would need to do for the class. But I kind of like I already had this kind of vision of like soul power kind of in my head already, and like from then on I kind of linked up with Karen Chandler. She was my teacher, and she literally she was like, I mean, if you just do it, you can do it. This could all be for like what you're actually trying to do. So I like used that whole class to kind of like build up and like actually create the nonprofit and like actually do all the stuff like grant writing, um, fundraising and like networking, campusing, shit like that. She actually like just helped. Like I was like, I might as well apply this right now while it's fresh. And so with that, I started Soul Power and went to Dakar, Senegal. That was like the first project or something I wanted to like fundraise for. So I like I raised money all that school year, and kind of really built the foundation of what I was trying to do with Soul Power, and then like went there, built like a studio space at a school for it was like a bilingual Muslim academy. So they like did like they did a lot of choir stuff with it. They did like a lot of resuscitation kind of stuff with it, but like now they still use that equipment to like kind of have their own little radio show where the kids like recite and do what they want to do with music. So that was like where it came from originally, and my mom gave me the idea of like, you're always like music is a universal language, and you're always using it to connect people, and so it was like sounds of universal love was like the acronym with soul. Yeah, that's kind of like where it like came from, and then I came back here. I spent a month out there, came back here, and started trying to do the same thing in like after school programs. That's when I started kind of getting into teaching, and I just kept with the nonprofit kind of like educational vibe because I always love like kind of spreading the knowledge to the next person. Like I can do a lot of things, but then it's like cool to see, even with like minimal teaching, how kids can like just take it to the next level already. It's just like a generational kind of passing on of information. So
100%,
yeah,
man. That's
just keeping
powerful,
it
bro.
going.
And so that kind of leads into my next question, like how does education and like the international experience in Senegal, like how do you use that and how did that like influence like the way you kind of move as far as your vision with things like soul and just your overall movement with Slim Soul and Soul Power Productions, like how does that like influence your today?
I mean, yeah, I still, want to create the same space for people. We've kind of started a few of them, or at least tried to continue music in some of the schools that I've been at, and like I've built cool programs that are still going. Um, but really, it's just, I don't know. I think it's just like that community and like collaboration and like, really building each other up. And I feel like that's the overall kind of motive and theme of like hip hop is just like building with your community and like building with the people around you, and that's kind of how I've always wanted to keep it. So like even with like the stuff with Soul Power, it's just cool that like that was like one of the first things in that class. She was like, pick something that like that's not gonna change like ever. Like pick like what like the broad basis of like what you want to do, and then like still to this day I'll look at it on the website or look at it like with any of the kind of stuff that we have out, and it's always been the same kind of message of like fostering creativity, building community, teaching to the younger generation. Like that's been the the main goal, like the main mission. That's what I was like forgetting the word. It's the mission, and that shit does not change throughout your whole Anything in your organization can change except like the mission and like what y'all are trying to do. So just been trying to stick to that mission.
100%, man. And as somebody who's like highly influenced by you, man, it's cool to see over the years the amount of community that you built, like between all of the artists, from the guy who's filming right now to Extra Chill to everything. We've all kind of built a connection through the influence of Slim Soul and Soul Power Productions, man. Like you created a bridge for a lot of different artists and pretty much everybody in this underground hip hop scene. So appreciate that, brother, man.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you.
We're gonna get back into it and let's kind of talk about some tunes real quick.
Okay.
So you recently went on tour with Stoplight Observations.
Yes,
and
sir.
like touring is like a major milestone in like a lot of the underground hip hop, and especially here in Charleston, like a lot of people are wanting to tour and really get their music out there like that. So how has touring with a band like Stoplight Observations like guided you in the way that you want to go about like your own future tours?
I mean, no, it's a shout out to Will Blackburn. You know, he's really good at like building like a team and like, you know, a good leader. And I just really just seeing it from like the ins and outs of like something that's like been built. Like he's been kind of like a step, like Stoplight's been going for a long time, and just to see like this beginning go, like I was probably in high school when they were like getting big. Like those were always like kind of the reunion shows in college, and like when we graduated and stuff like that, like I could always see somebody from my high school at a Stoplight show because they went to our high school. So just to see like the, you know, the transformation and just how like professional it is and how he tries to really keep it, you know, just a well-oiled machine has been like a great learning experience. So I've just really I went at it with trying to learn as much as I could and I'm applying it to hip hop, because that's kind of the same way, you know, I've taken anything that I've seen in this city is like there's like stuff that works, and then that's just like people think that's just to a certain genre. It's like, no, you just have to apply the full like what they're actually doing to like what we do with hip hop. And like I've kind of seen it already. Like a lot of the homies like picking up quick, you know. So it's been really cool to kind of see, you know, that shift from like coming back to like seeing the homies like, you know, Unheard, everybody out here working while I was gone, and like me being able to like literally see everything that's happening like while I'm out of the city. I feel like I'm not like left out. Like you just see everything. It's dope. But no, it's really cool to just kind of bring back the tools, you know, and keep those things going, because I'm just definitely trying to, you know, picking his brain about everything, just sitting in the van like talking about like plans and like what to drop, what to do, and you know, it's really helpful just learning, you know. It's the big takeaway from it.
That's dope, man. And like I think it's real important for like hip hop artists to kind of indulge in more of like the alternative experimental music.
Yeah.
And I think like building that gap, it just kind of makes a more broad spectrum for the crowd, the population, the people here in Charleston and beyond to like accept these different pockets of like hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
So with something like that, how would you say, or what would you say are like the biggest disconnects or misunderstandings between the various genres of like music that go on here? Like we have like hip hop, we've got the live band scene, we've got the EDM scene, just the various different scenes that are active in Charleston. What would you say are something that is creating a disconnect, or something that would kill the disconnect? Like what is something that we need to do more of?
Well, like what would kill the disconnect, I feel like, is just like more of the genre bending shows. I feel like in like history, like punk and like hip hop, or like, you know, like rock and hip hop, like there are those certain little points in time where like kind of counterculture periods of time where dudes would just do Like it would be like a punk band and then like a hip hop act, or like like metal and hip hop, like all these like kind of like alternative, genres would always kind of like link up with hip hop because it was also kind of alternative as well because it's really young still. But yeah, I think that would be like something that would kill the disconnect. Like, and I feel like Royal does that, like, and that's really just up to the artist. Like, like about like we should plan the bill a little better instead of doing like everybody's a hip hop act. It's all hip hop acts. Like get like a like an alternative band because all that does is bring each person a new fan base. Like so like every time you do like a punk show and a metal show or a punk show and a hip hop show, a metal show, hip hop show, or like they're all sort of close to that, and it's not like that's the only genre of music they listen to.
Right.
Pretty much everybody listens to hip hop as well, so it's really that kind of added effect to like get those people to kind of like cross pollinate. I don't know what really is like the disconnect with the genres. I don't think it's really a genre kind of disconnect. I think it's just a matter of time and connections. I feel like Charleston's small enough to where that does kind of link up. First way you got to do it is just go to the other shows that are happening. Right. Like go to a punk show or go to like a metal show. I can't like. I used to do a lot of sound at Purple Buffalo where they would like really just bring in like crazy stuff. Like they brought in Crazy Town. What's the the band? It's damn. And they're like known for like this one Butterfly. They're known for like the Come My Lady, Come My Lady. Yeah. They came to Purple Buffalo. Like, what? And like there was this whole period of that where it was like they were really popping off because they would sell like that kind of act, or like they would bring in like random different genres that people don't really have a space for or like wouldn't listen to, and those shows would like sell out. And it was but I think getting like my homie Paul, he like worked at he promoted a lot of those shows, and you'll see him around like big dude with like glasses, beard, but he would just be at everything. Like you'd be at hip hop shows, he'd come out to my shows, but he was like the main like kind of promoter and booker for like punk and like pop punk and like the emo like metal music. He would just bring everything into Charleston, but he would always bring it to a point of like the whole point was you're selling tickets, so he would just make sure that they made that money, and it would really just be picking the right person and then putting the right people together with them that would make a successful show. But I don't see it as that kind of disconnect because I feel like I'm definitely seeing it more now that there's kind of these genre bending shows that are out.
Thanks. And that it's been really big, even from the various festivals of 2023. Like everybody's kind of bounced back on the festival scene. It was really dope just to see like every element of music kind of involved in things, from like the Boogeyman Fest,
exactly,
One Way Forward, like all these different festivals that were alternative but just all inclusive at the same time. And so speaking of like all inclusion, we're gonna kind of go into S.O.U.L Studios a little bit, and just if you could just kind of drop a few gems on how did S.O.U.L Studios come about, like how was it, who were like the founding fathers of S.O.U.L Studio, if you will, and how does the things like the genre bending shows and us keeping like that type of all-inclusive, multi-layered like footwork, us having things like that, how do you incorporate that into S.O.U.L Studios mission?
Word. Well, the whole point of, it's kind of like just an offset of Soul Power Productions, but I've always, I've been in a few different spaces where I've tried to just build that kind of creative space and open it up to people and kind of make it work in a way that it like sustains itself, so it's not like a strain on anybody. But it started with Wolfie in the space, and that was like kind of my first introduction to that area. And then they would do shows there, they would do live streams there, and the homies with Little Bird that sometimes like they toured with Stoplight this last run, and those are all good homies, and Oleg and Noah playing my band. But they had the space at first, so like the first year it was them, and they were were just always in there, so we would always pull up on Wolfie or pull up at that space, and it was just like a cool little spot to be able to jam and kind of get away from the house and like just be able to create with like no distractions. That's the only thing in there. And then they were looking for like just help with like at that time it was just them as a band like renting out this space, so like that became too much, and it was like a little burdensome because you're like basically paying another like splitting another rent with all the homies, so they just basically had just like an extra space. So I got involved with them and Jacob and Max, who's like the management at Stoplight, and Jacob's always been at our shows at Poorhouse and just been a dope supporter. And he was like, I think we could like, make it a little bit more organized and like make it kind of sustainable and be able to, provide that same environment, because he just like everybody kind of feels that kind of vibe in there. It's just like a chill spot to be. It's like it feels good and easy to just hop on and record, or if you're not trying to record, at least be able to, jam and make your music and kind of get the creative ideas out. So it was. With that, we got it last year, and so we've been in there about a year now, just literally just providing that kind of space that, that's what I was kind of seeking, was like having some place to, call Soul Power's like spot, and then also just to be able to provide it to other people, and then, foster that kind of collaboration community, because, you can't always do it by yourself, and it's definitely easier to collaborate when everybody's comfortable and ready to collaborate. So that was the big mission for sure. But yeah, so Jacob's been, diehard supporter of that, and we've just been kind of trying to get stuff right and, make it so that we can go into this year and kind of not have to worry about it, just make sure that everybody's kind of like linked in and we have enough stuff that kind of lets people be able to, learn more about what they're trying to do, and then but also just be collaborating with different people. And it's always cool because there's so many different like kind of people in there now rehearsing, and they start to run in each other like after their rehearsals or before their rehearsals, and it's just cool. Like that kind of makes the connections as well, just like, oh, like heard you while we were loading in our stuff, and it just really sticks to that mission of this collaboration. We all just need a space to work. We all just throw in on it, chip in on it, like kind of universally, it'll, sustain itself.
Yeah, man, sustainable village, man, and it's just been real cool to watch it grow, like see things like the benefit gala that you guys threw.
Yeah.
It was really, really dope. A whole bunch of different factions of Charleston music, fashion, entertainment were there. It was just really dope just to see like everything starting to come together, and that there is being a hub for music. So. Definitely appreciate you being in the center of that, my guy. And so speaking of new music and teamwork, we've got Talk to Me Nice, just recently released, and we got a visual coming for it.
Oh yeah.
So if you could just kind of tap into that, how did that song come together with Mr. Cameron Westcott, and
oh man,
just where were you with the concept and the visual and the parallel of the two?
Well, it's just I don't know. It's definitely it sparked off of just kind of the thought of talk to me nice, like give me my respect, like pay me my flowers, like while you can now. But I was like, that was a mood during that time, and we wrote it. I think it was like probably right before we kind of left on tour. Like we were like getting together a lot, me and Cam. And I've been showing him a lot of these beats from this dude Juno, who I've done. He did the last one with me and Mooncat as well. He did a lot of shit to do. So I really just like his vibe, like this Dilla-esque kind of vibe of production, and then like kind of the Anderson Paak level, like just like R&B, like floaty kind of stuff. So I was already kind of vibing with that, and like me and Cam were just in that space, and S.O.U.L, just kind of like throwing in tracks and thinking of stuff, because I was just like, I just got to get some Cam vocals. Like I'm gonna show you whatever it is. Like he started giving me a lot of his beats. He wants to produce a lot of this next album that I'm trying to do, and Talk to Me Nice and a lot of shit to do are gonna be on that. Sounds of Universal Love. But yeah, so he was just in his kind of producer mode, and I was like, I got all the beats, now I got to get you to sing on some stuff because Cam's just like this multi-talented dude, you know,
Right,
like you know, like
100%.
he started on drums, then went to bass. Now he's like the front man of his band, playing bass, and just like belting, like just straight killing it with singing. And so had to get him on, and he kind of had felt the vibe. Like I had showed him like kind of how I wanted it to sound, to talk to me nice, and then he kind of just took it from there. That hook and how he recorded that was just so interesting to watch because he just knew he kind of had like figured out his little formula of like how he wanted to get his vocals out, you know. So we just like, you know, posted up for like it was like 20-30 minutes, and he did like 9-10 vocal layers, and he was just like, all right, I'm gonna do this twice, let's do that, all right, let's do these two twice, all right, I think I'm gonna do it like I'm gonna do it higher up here, let me do that twice. And then by the time we were done, it was like that, like just silky smooth, like barely anything done with it, just that silky smooth, like kind of hook. And so it just that kind of just motivated the track from there. Because once I got that, I kind of felt the vibe more, and just, you know, that's it, just to talk to me nice vibe, you know. And really, it was kind of like a cool formula of how I wanted, like just do music from now on, and like how streamlined and smooth it is. And so, like, after that, I already had the song in my head, and I recorded it once in there because I kind of, like, made this mission to, like, whatever it is, if it sounds bad, if it sounds, like, trash, whatever I need to do, at least I have it recorded, and now I'm listening to it, and I figure out what I want to do. So it's like, instead of trying to get it to the perfection level off rip, like, just, like, you know, demoing it out and kind of practicing what we preach with how we're trying to get people in there, you know. So I was doing that, and I like played it like a few times, like recorded, like, you know, do the classic car test, or like drive around with it for a couple of days, then record it again, and then kind of finally got the end goal. And Cam had just put out his music video as well with this dude Persona La Ave, and I was like, it was the same kind of like vibe, like the trippy kind of filter effects without, like, they were just on the camera effects. Right. And so I was like really digging his video, and you know, I hit that dude up, and he was like super down, and we wanted Cam to be in there, but he was already still touring too. So I was like, this guy was like moving to New York like in the next few days, and or like he was coming back and forth, so like he was coming back for like the last time for a while, and I was like, damn, we just gotta get it going. I'm like, I really just want to be somewhere like, just needs to be like a fancy like 80s like music video, like, you know, I just wanted to have that like classic kind of, you know, old school vibe with it. And then I just kind of made it like a day to just take the lady out, take my fiance out, and like, you know, just treat her right, talk to her nice, you know, like get her out, have a nice dinner. Like the homie Amita hooked it up at the Watch, and you know, we just made it look like as fancy as possible, and like just, you know, kind of shut on, like pop champagne, like order like hors d'oeuvres, and you know, have like a nice lunch, and like chill out on the balcony, and you know,
talking
just
nice.
Yeah, you know,
talking
just
nice.
Just looking fresh, trying to chill. And I like, we literally had a show with the homies after that, so it just kind of got me in that vibe. And you know, and it was just a cool experience to just see like work with that, like kind of, we had like a little pressure point of time, and like we just worked it out. I'm like, well, let's make it a date day, and you know, like before my show, let's get right, let's get fresh, and you know, have a good time. And it showed in the video for sure. It was really fun to make, and it was you know, a good bonding experience with the lady, and you know, just really cool. It just, the whole vision kind of came together real nicely of like, you know, everybody feeling the vibe of the song, and like, you know, just adding to that, like, talk to me nice, like, yeah, niggas need to start talking to me nice out here, like, you know. So it was cool that everybody, you know, mission accepted and accomplished with that.
100%, man. Yeah, it's cool that you take the parallel of like, talk to me nice, show me my respect, but also the love aspect of talking nice to your gal, the romanticism. So that's a dope duality.
Everybody got to talk to me nice now. Even the lady got to talk. Like, sometimes you need to talk to me nice too. Now I don't think you recognize.
Right.
That's how it is. That's how it is for sure.
Feel that, man. So that's really dope, man. So now we'll kind of go into a few deeper questions.
Yeah.
So mental health is like a big thing that's starting to have more of an uproar. People's eyes are waking up in reference to the importance of mental health, different practices that we can have that's like accessible to everybody beyond therapy and pills, things like that. Um, what would you say are your 5 best practices for mental health?
I got this. So like, I feel like routine for sure is just like making a routine for yourself and kind of sticking with it. And it's like that's little battles every day. So it's like this is stuff I'm like I gotta put. I'm still like making myself kind of put into practice because um, it just like I feel like everybody kind of struggles to that with some degree, and so like my ways to kind of handle it are like that. Like my girl always tells me like make lists. My mom says the same thing. A lot of people in my family like spelling is a spell. So if you're writing stuff down, that really just helps you put it in a physical plane of like thinking about it and like crossing off a list. That's like the best thing, like
Right.
best feeling. I feel like for a few people, just because it's like that's how you just like plain straightforward like knock shit out. Like just write it down. Make sure you do it every day, and that's one. I do a lot of. I feel like just treating your body right, just drinking water, being healthy, like just like a lot of cutting out a lot of things definitely helps with that.
Mm.
Like all the processed stuff, like sugars and stuff. And once again, I struggle with that a lot sometimes too. It's like you hit Mickey D's or any kind of fast food up a lot,
Okay.
but yeah, like I feel like cutting that stuff out is like or making that a kind of mission is definitely gonna improve like how you're feeling. Like it's gonna affect like you are what you eat, and like if you eat a bunch of shit, you're gonna feel like shit. So I feel like that's number two. Um, I feel like definitely making sure I my practice. I love using like lion's mane, chaga, like mushrooms, like stuff like neurotropics and stuff like that. That kind of replace some of the stuff that you miss out on, like with sugar or caffeine, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of getting with that. Um, something physical. I like yoga, exercise, meditation, just really something to do with your breathing. Helps a lot. And then, I mean, if it really come down to it, you might need to hit you with some kind of something extra. I know, some people, it's weed. Some people it's some kind of it's something that actually helps. Like psychedelics or
Right.
any of that kind of stuff that you could use actually responsibly and with a goal.
Right.
Definitely helps. Medicine in general. Just that could be prescription. That could be natural.
Right.
Those are that's my top 5.
Yes, sir. Moderation and intention, man. That's
Yes, sir.
Soul's top 5
Hey, right
mental
there.
health practices, man. Like mental health is like just it's a very extremely important thing in our day and age. Myself included, I sometimes disregard the power of it.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of get wrapped up into like the physical spectrum of what's going on so much that we forget to kind of tune back in itself. So, you know, I asked that question specifically for you because like you're a person who always has like this even kill everywhere you go, man. Like,
well, I try.
you know what I mean?
My
Like
girl will tell you
it's
something
on most
different.
days, you know, we all have our days.
But I try to keep it. I try to keep it together.
Yeah, you're a pretty chill guy on the most part, man, and I admire it as a homie, man. So just wanted to kind of get that out there, man. So, and let's see, we're gonna do another top 5. What would you say are your top 5 venues here in Charleston?
Oh snap! Well, I gotta just go ahead and rep the team in Poorhouse already. Charleston Poorhouse. I do promotions, coordination, and sound out there. So they've been the poor home for a good 3 years. They've been real cool. It's like a mom and pop venue. Like they're not Live Nation. They pick every act that comes in there, and it's just to their vibe and how they like it. And it's just great. It's become like a family out there, and we really like Poorhouse. I'd say for the next ones, let's see, definitely shout out to Lo-Fi. They're up there, just with just the ease of access and the space, and like everybody's really chill out there. Been to some fun stuff out there. Royal American, John Kenny, where they do like Boogeyman, but they also do everything on the inside bar.
Right.
So that place has been I've been doing shows there for a long time, and just that relationship with John Kenny, he was one of the first people to like kind of sponsor us and like give us anything that would like kind of just help out. Like he was like, we talked and he was just like, yo, like you can, I got a little check for you right here. Like it's it's not much, but I want to do that, and I want to be able to have you have like people come through here, and he had like a drink special for us. It was just like really accommodating, real cool dude. And from then on, like we'd always see each other at Boogeyman and at different shows out there. So I was, yeah, they're a fam too. What is that? That's 3, 4.
That's three.
That's three. All right, Poorhouse, Lo-Fi, Royal. Let's see here. Music hall, just for the classier evenings and occasions. But that was where I interned at when I was in college, and learned a lot from my homie Mike Rogers. Big mentor, just with like sound and like production, and Charles Carmody, just with giving me that internship and opportunity. He'd always give me work after and before that, so I was like really being able to like learn, but also like be a professional in the industry on like these cool big levels, just because Charles wanted to take a chance on your boy. That's like, I saw Dave Chappelle out there, Killer Mike. They've been really on their ball since the pandemic, and
Right.
getting right with that. So I had to do that. Last one. What else? Music hall. I'll give it to like a new one, just because Bounty Bar has been crushing it with the Sunday sessions, and getting people in there. And John Kenny again. So it's really just cool to see he could pop up and do it in multiple spots, and make it in a place in Folly where it's like not as accessible, but like especially one of the first places on Folly to like really put on people to like hip hop and have some hip hop shows out there. So shout outs to them as well. But yeah, I think that's my top 5.
Top 5, man.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to all of these illustrious places out here in Charleston, man. They've really been giving a path for hip hop this last year, 2 years, real strong. So shout out to all these guys. A couple more questions, then we're gonna let you go, my brother.
Yeah. Let's go. I'm coming.
What do you see is the future of Soul Power Productions, in the sense of like how you incorporate your music and education? You have a very strong hold with those two things together. Just the socialite aspect of Slim Soul, being a sound engineer and involved in so many different things. What do you see that becoming in the next 5 years?
I just see it, just becoming like a permanent fixture of wherever I'm at. Like I just see it as kind of the way I can represent myself as like a business, but also something that's trying to give back wherever it is. So we're not exclusive to the space that we're trying to stay in now, but it's just kind of like a vibe of collaboration and being able, like, I feel like all the ideas that even we cultivate in the space with like the workshops that we're planning on throwing, or like the parties or the galas or the stuff that we want to do in there besides record and rehearse and stuff like that. I feel like that's just an energy that can be brought anywhere. So I just want to, I know hopefully it's in a stable place in 5 years, or maybe it can just be the way I kind of started it, which was like production and being able to like kind of put on that event anywhere, or like be able to make that space kind of happen anywhere. But yeah, no, I just see it as, being the same like kind of production company, just, continuing to, book contracts and teach and be able to, help people do the same thing that we're trying to do. So it's just producing events, creating vibes, curating, and, putting people together. As long as we still doing that, I think we'll be good.
100%, brother. So that'll be our last question, man. We appreciate you so much, Mr. Slim Soul.
Appreciate you for having me.
If you want to shout out anybody or kind of give like your piece to the people, anything you got coming up, just before we.
Well, yeah, go ahead and go hit that Talk to Me Nice video. Go stream the Talk to Me Nice song. If you haven't looked up the Psychedelics, look up Stoplight, look up the homies, look up S.O.U.L Studios. We still got a GoFundMe going, so if you could donate to the GoFundMe, that would be appreciated. It's for all the upcoming expenses this year, and being able to just kind of be independent and be able to sustain what we've created over the past year. So keep donating, keep showing love, and keep coming out to events. I know we've got a few more happening in February for sure. We've got the Dilla Doom show with the Psychedelics, so it's Dilla versus Doom. All the homies are gonna be there, getting our classic hip hop vibe on. Granddaddy Caddy's still doing a lot of shows this February every Monday, and we'll be supporting on that Dilla Doom show. So come out to the Poorhouse and see us. We've got a lot of stuff happening, especially in the next couple of months. So keep it out.
The timing, bro.
Right there.
Bless.
Right there.
Yo, 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 yo.